Taliban has sent 4 helicopters to the Panjshir province, and mainly their main target was to eliminate the hideouts of NRFA forces. As in the recent clashes with the NRFA forces, the Taliban has now lost dozens of their fighters and dozen others were also injured. Sources from the Taliban say that the most of their injured has been taken to 400-bed hospital of Sardar Muhammad Dawood Khan Hospital to Kabul, which is the biggest military hospital of Afghanistan. So big breaking there, Taliban sending 4 helicopters of the Panjshir province, and mainly their main target was to eliminate the hideouts of the NRFA forces. As in the recent clashes with the NRFA forces, the Taliban has lost in these clashes. Taliban has lost dozens of their fighters and dozens others were also injured. Now sources from Taliban itself saying that most of their injured have been now taken to 400-bed hospital of Sardar Muhammad Dawood Khan Hospital to Kabul, which is the biggest military hospital of Afghanistan. All right, joining me on the phone line is General G.D. Bakshi. Thank you for joining us. Now, this, sir, is coming as a very, very big development there. Now, we can easily say that the NRFA forces are giving a fit fight to the Taliban fighters.
Most certainly. You know, the Panjshir Valley, they are the best fighters in the whole of Afghanistan. They had given the toughest time to the Soviet army, and about 3 core-sized offensives had been launched against the Panjshir Valley and had failed to dislodge or destroy the Panjshir fighters. The unfortunate problem was that they decided to fight in a very conventional manner and not as per the old tactic in which they used to leave the valley floor and climb up to this thing. So they took certain losses, but they are still surviving, they are still intact, and they are now fighting back. And I'm sure in the times to come, we will hear much more of these fighters, and because they were the best fighters of the Russian phase of the war. The Mujahideen groups at that time were just 150, 200 strong. These were the only fighters who were operating 8 to 10,000 strong in large formations, and they had survived Russian tank attacks, Russian paratrooper attacks, air assault forces, artillery bombardments, and even air bombardments. So I'm sure they have, unfortunately, a lot of that old vintage fighters is not there anymore. But I'm sure the younger generation will prove as good, and in the days to come, we will hear more of their exploits.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Major General G.D. Bakshi. I would like to go across to Major General K.K. Sinha, who's also joining us. Thank you for joining us here. Now, there's a big development that we're seeing, sir, that the NRFA forces and the Taliban are in a very tough face-off, and the NRFA forces are definitely giving a tough competition there to the Taliban in the Panjshir Valley.
Yeah, this is the latest development. What we are hearing that Panjshir is still holding. Mind you, Panjshir has been always a place where the resistance has been there, and it has a very long tradition, just because of the terrain conditions are there, and in this phase, this time also, the Panjshir has been very, very, that is what say a ray of hope from where, if something is happening in Afghanistan, if you have to come back and try to normalize the issue with Taliban, the Panjshir is the only bastion left over there. Now, in Taliban, they have, now using, attack Raptors and going for Panjshir, from where these, helicopters have come. These are the Raptors left by the Americans. And they have, and the pilots and all those things, they have able to manage with this, gun from the armed forces and air forces. They have, got some, and they are going for it. That is the second part of it. But mind you, in Panjshir, the actual nationalist Afghani forces who were there, they are holding. they are with with the forces which is actually giving the resistance, and the Panjshir is holding. And mind you, it has gone down to a little bit because of what is happening in Ukraine, because Russian support is not coming. If you see the Tajikistan and Uzbekistan and these areas, basically the Panjshir used to get a lot of support from there. But the Panjshir, as on today, has its own. Nothing is coming from there. So unless it comes, and mind you, during the actual operations, what we have seen, when there was a resistance, the Pakistan army and along with the Haqqani network, they were able to gain a little bit, the foothold in the Panjshir Valley. But Panjshir, what they have, forces operating over there, they were able to push back and taken those valleys, where they had the foothold. As on today, it is a ding-dong battle which is going, and I'm very sure that the Panjshir will hold. And when the time is there, something has to be done.
Right, Major General K.K. Sinha. Okay. Thank you very much. I would also like to go across to Group Captain Augustine Vinod. Group Captain Augustine Vinod, now these NRFA forces were the last to hold out against Taliban takeover of Afghanistan in August last year. Now, like we just said, they are giving a tough time, a fight. The battle for Panjshir is continuing. How do you see things playing out in the next 24 hours to the next month?
See, a couple of things we need to understand very clearly. Panjshir Valley per se is very strategically very important. And in the previous times also, during Soviet occupation, Panjshir Valley and Amritsar Masood gave a tough fight to, and the protection of Kabul, the Kabul protection forces always fell back to Panjshir, into the Panjshir Valley. In fact, there is a beautiful book written about how strategically the forces withdrew into the Panjshir Valley and came back to attack again and again. So it forms a kind of strength for Kabul if you hold it, and it is a weakness for Kabul if you don't hold it. So NRF forces holding Panjshir Valley, moving up right up to the Tajik regions, is something which is going to be a big bugbear for Taliban in times to come. And secondly, Ahmad Masood, who's son of Amritsar Masood, who is known to be one of the best guerrilla commanders probably Afghanistan has ever seen, is not going to give up very easily. But the problem, ma'am, here is the logistical supply. That is what is going to probably make them pause or probably make them disappear into these valleys till they muster up some kind of support. So aerial warfare is going to be a key turning point in this particular attack. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Group Captain Augustine Vinod there. Like Group Captain said that it's a key turning point, which in fact the battle for Panjshir continues. Much more coming up on the other side of this very short break. The political fight over Khalistan provocation. Kumar Vishwas is now hinting the Aam Aadmi Party role in the Khalistan provocation. That's coming up next.